The second level is Battle of Trebia. In this level, the main role are Flaminius, Scipio of the Rome side, and Hannibal of the Carthage side. Let's look at the mission targets. The primary target of this level is to reach the designated assembly point, and the two secondary targets are to defend a key force and defeat 3 enemy forces. Let's finish the tutorial first. The second level of the tutorial is to teach us how to build troops, as well as the belligerence level. The top middle icon is the belligerence level, which represents the current state of our economy. The income state is divided into peaceful, defensive, aggressive, and crazy from high to low. Similar to the upkeep system in Warcraft 3, the higher your belligerence level is, the lower the actual income you can get. This work also has the fortifications as before. They are trench, face, and breastwork. However, its actual effect is relatively small and can only withstand 10% of the damage, so it may be less used in combat. Then all the buildings in this work have health values and are distributed in a ring shape. Of course, the building has no defense value. It is actually in a state of zero defense. The upper right corner is the number of urban areas. A level 3 city can have 3 different buildings, and a level 4 city can have 4 buildings. Each of the buildings can be upgraded to level 2. 2 of the buildings can exactly the same. Because this is an economic cure game, if we develop 2 economic output buildings with a city that can only be upgraded to level 4, one of the economic buildings chooses to increase the characteristics of economic output, it will earn more. Residential area can increase the population. There are 2 kinds of annex buildings. One can increase the city's population by 50%, and the other can increase the city's tax bracket. Increasing the city's tax bracket means that, for example, I am now in a state of aggressive. When I have this annex, the actual income of the city is the income of the defensive state. If I am in peaceful state, then this feature actually has no effect. There are 4 types of war gear in this game. Generally speaking, battering ram are used for siege, and ballista are used for field battle. Equipped with war gear has a great improvement for troops. The choice of war gear is also related to the battlefield situation and player strategy. In the yellow circle, you can get some items, skill reels, or some material rewards in the battle. That is to say, I may get a skill reel or equipment from the yellow circle, or it may just add a few hundred of silver coins at the current level. Here we also exit first, because the commander should be able to upgrade. The capability value can be added. The commander's capability value and skill combination can be freely combined, but in the early times the commander was relatively weak. Its initial rank is relatively low, only the captain level, and it takes a lot of resources to the max level, so in the early time we suggested you to buy a few generals to use. We kept the commander in the late time and cultivated it slowly. Here, because I want to develop it into an infantry type, I choose the common skill March and 3 infantry skills Shield Wall, Infantry Commander, and Ambush. I train the commander in the direction of a high mobility and defensive infantry general. We read the archive back to the game. Because we have already passed the tutorial and then enter the game, the automatic button in the upper right corner will appear. This level is very likely to fail if you are automatic all the time. The designated position on the right has a limit on the number of rounds. If you do not reach the designated position within 14 rounds, the campaign will fail. It is worth mentioning here that the originally designed Hannibal, which is the unit of war elephant, has a strong offensive desire and will actively kill anyone close to the red circle. Therefore, Hannibal's AI made some adjustments because it is easy to cause this level failure. Now Hannibal's army will defend around the city or in the city, not as much offensive as before. It's also difficult to reach 3 stars in the initial version of the level because it was required to protect 2 key units. They have insufficient combat power and will actively attack Hannibal. If you play slowly, you can only watch your allies go to death and cannot get 3 stars. So we made adjustments. You only need to protect 1 ally unit now, and the ally unit rarely takes the initiative to engage in direct contact with Hannibal. Here we can see that the commander we sent to the assembly point were accidentally eliminated during the melee. At this time, we found that the secondary target has been completed, leaving only the primary target to reach designated position. So we can send a few more troops to move towards designated position to ensure level clearance. In fact, in the Battle of the Trebia River, the Romans were ambushed by the enemy after crossing the river. The casualties were heavy. In the Punic War, the policies pursued by the generals of both sides are to rope in other forces to increase their strength. There is a historical story that says Scipio's men gave him a beautiful Gaul woman in the battle, who is actually a fiancée of a Gaul leader. After Scipio knew, he sent the lady back to the Gaul tribe unscathed. In the ensuing battle, the tribal leader also took his own troops to fight for Rome. Similarly, Carthage commander Hannibal's policy on captives is quite generous, but it is very harsh for the Romans. In fact, it is also to draw other forces to join the Carthage side in battle to fight against Rome. This game has a new function, Specify Target Point. You can set a target point for your units, and they will move to the specified target point automatically, which solves part of the operational burden for players.